How the soul will exactly go there, that Krishna will do. But as described, it takes place instantly. No need of spacecraft, because the soul is so subtle, it immediately can travel to the spiritual planet, which is far, far away. Our job in this body now is just to surrender to God. Lord Chaitanya said that everyone has his whole life. He can give his whole life to God, or if he can't do that, he can give some money in service of God consciousness. Or if he says, I have no money, then he has some intelligence, he can give that to God. Then I don't even have much intelligence. But then you can give your words. You can speak about Krishna. Tell people, please chant Hare Krishna. In these ways you can give your life to God, and then you'll be free from sinful reaction and go to Godhead. Does that answer the question? It's just a matter of desire. If you want to go to God, then there's nothing in your way. There's no obstacle. You say material life, we find someone who's very determined. Then he can, where there's a will, there's a way, we say. If he's very determined to become rich man, he may have to work hard, but if he's determined, he will succeed. If he's enthusiastic, even materially. So the same thing, if you want love of God, you're determined, you'll get it. Yes.
Is the main requirement to chant?
That's the religious Dharma, it's called the Dharma of this age. It's the best way to understand God in this age. Chant the holy name of God. There are many different methods, but like there's a yoga and meditation, but to perform them is very difficult. They have to be done with severe austerities. And this chanting is especially for this age, because we're in a fallen condition. We're not much interested in spiritual life. We become very restless, even if there are any prolonged discussion of topics of God. What to speak of doing anything that's difficult in order to achieve God consciousness. We want everything easy. So Krishna is so kind. He is even approaching us, knowing that this is our mentality. So then just chant the holy name. It's not very difficult. That's all. Can you do it? See? Even that's too much. You say, is that all? I say, can you do it? So why should there be more? It is difficult to chant Hare Krishna. But it is not to.
Srila Prabhupada has given indication that in order to go back home, back to Godhead, one has to be free from material desire by spiritual activity. But like in the case of a Jamya, he appeared to be full of material desire. But somewhere or other he chanted the name of Krishna and he also went back home. Could you explain that?
Well, that's discussed elaborately about Ajamil. But it's possible that one can lead a sinful life and at the last moment of his life chant the holy name in such a helpless condition that he can be forgiven. Whatever one thinks of at the time of death, his next body is like that. So one shouldn't calculate that I shall do all kinds of sinful activities and then I will think of God at the time of death. First of all, sinful activities are not even enjoyable, even in the temporary sense. But neither can you count on that, because the time of death is a very difficult time. It's the most painful, uncomfortable time of life. The body becomes unbearable to live in for one reason or another. So in such a state of mind, you cannot easily meditate and say the name of God. unless your life has been molded around thinking of the Lord in this way, chanting His glories. Then you can think. But somehow Ajamil, he did it. There's another case of the Maharaj Katbanga. He was fighting for the cause of the demigods for many years, and he was awarded a benediction. Take anything you want. If you want any beautiful women, or you want wealth, we want to give you something for your services of fighting for us. He said, I don't want these things. If you can give me something, can you give me information how much duration of life I have? Because I want to plan in terms of my next life. I want to know what is my life duration. Do you have that information? So they consulted and gave him the information. And in his case, it was only a minute left to live. Ordained by Providence. His life had only a moment left. So in that moment, on receiving that information, which he so intelligently asked for, he immediately surrendered to Krishna. He gathered his wits about him, and in that moment actually surrendered. So it's possible. So Ajamil, somehow, he was an extraordinary case, that he chanted the name of his son, but not in an offensive way. He was not like a blasphemer of the name of God. And he called helplessly, it was the name of God. So the real thing is not his credit, but the power of the holy name. So don't try to follow his footsteps. It's very, very risky. He just barely made it. There was Yamaraj's assistant was ready to take him. He followed the safe path of the Mahajans and regularly chant Hare Krishna and avoid sinful activities. That is our movement. Ajamil is there just to instruct us on the incalculable mercy of the holy name. Devotee, he doesn't necessarily ask that he must be transferred immediately to the Krishna planet, but he just wants to be able to think of Krishna as he leaves this world. So, if Krishna desires, he may come back to this material world to serve again, to preach again. Spiritual master's activities are eternal. He may appear in one place or another, in one form or another, to execute the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So it's possible that some of his disciples may also be with him again. Prabhupada used to sometimes speak in that way. That's, you disciples who have come, you are actually devotees of Lord Chaitanya, and now you come again to assist me in the Sankirtan movement. So we can join again. These things cannot be all understood now. First, we have to see that our connection with Krishna, or that our correct connection with the spiritual master, is solid in this lifetime before we think of actually continuing. We have to control our senses under his instructions, and it's possible. It's like you may hear about the spiritual world, that they have trees there, kalpavriksha trees, where any desire is awarded. So they may say, that's very nice, I desire to take from those trees. So you may desire, But first you have to deserve, then you desire. You can't simply go to the Kalpa Vriksha. Now we're now developing our desire to serve Krishna, to serve the spiritual master. If that desire is strong enough, then anything is possible. We may go by that strong, deserving desire. We can go with him, we can go with him to Krishna. Rupa Goswami says, if you hear that love of God is available like a market commodity, sometimes you hear an announcement, there's a certain sale going on now. You hear the news of this sale. If it's a good enough sale, you make tracks to that place to buy the product. So he said, if you somehow hear that love of God is available in the market, then you should go right away. This is the best product to obtain. Go right away, wherever you hear it's for sale. Love of God for sale? Well, what's the price? Yes, you go and you pay the price. The price is your desire to have it. It's not dollars. One actually desires these things, then he can have them. But then it has to be shown. We have to show that in this life. Maya will say, you desire to go to Krishna, you desire to follow your spiritual master eternally? Well, how about this desire instead? Then we have to see. Srila Prabhupada used to say, if he was preaching in California, he'd say, if we say to someone, would you like a ticket? We can give you a ticket from Los Angeles to San Francisco. They say, oh, thank you very much. Yes, I would like it. But if we say to them, would you like to go to the spiritual world? We can supply a ticket. No, I'm not very interested. But San Francisco, I'd like. So, what is your desire? Go to San Francisco or just go to Krishna? So Maya will interfere and offer you a nice free ticket to some other place. Against the order of the spiritual master, and you'll have to refuse that ticket, as much as you might like to go to San Francisco. But if you follow the order of the spiritual master, you'll go everywhere anyway. It's like on Sankirtan, you're going everywhere. You're traveling. Everything is also there, but in the service of Krishna. This they don't know. They think if I take the spiritual life, I'll be cheated of so many things. But we're not cheated. Although the devotees here in Vancouver, for so many years, they had to struggle in their little house. Now they're given more facility. And if Krishna desires, we build a big temple here. So we're not lacking anything. There's also a family life, if one feels he needs that. But we don't leave out Krishna in order to get these things. We let Krishna decide what we should have on his terms. And then we get so much. And you try without Krishna, then there'll be disaster. Yes. By hearing from him, they're not secrets. I went to one of Srila Prabhupada's older godbrothers at Sridhar Maharaj, and I asked him, did you ever hear Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati tell Prabhupada to go preach in the West? He said, I can't remember some specific thing like that. He said, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was always telling us this. Go preach in the West, on many occasions. So he said, maybe on one occasion, your Prabhupada was there. Of course, there was also specific instances in which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wrote to Srila Prabhupada to do this. But it wasn't a secret instruction. It was an individual instruction to Prabhupada. But at the same time, his desire was not secret, esoteric.